Okay. Here we go. I think... Hey everyone, welcome back to Watch It Played. My name is Rodney Smith, and this is...
Pat McDonald, and we're here to continue our playthrough of the live show.
Yes, it is a continuation, because we had a little error the first time we tried to launch this. In fact, we shut down the original link, we burned it in a fire, we threw it in the garbage, and we've started over, because there was a little bit of an audio sync problem, I think. I'm not sure that it's gone. I don't know if we can fully remove it, and honestly, we get mixed reports. Some people say it's bad, some people say it's okay.
It's fine, yeah.
It's hard to know. I apologize, though, for any lack in good quality.
It's fine.
All
We'll roll on through regardless now. Unless it's even worse.
I think people are used to a few problems in our live shows, but hopefully we'll find some fun in it anyway. So we had a couple announcements we made. I'll just quickly go over them again because that other live thing will just kill.
Okay.
All right. So very quickly, we
so
do.
Violent.
I know. Sorry. We are going to have. We have actually running right now a fundraiser for the 7th season of Watch It Played. Did you know that?
I did.
Okay, good. Because we have funded, and then we're heading towards the next goal, which is to get PEP funded. That means PEP will be able to continue working on the show full time, which is a big help to me and a big help to the channel. So I definitely want to see that happen. We are 25% PEP funded, which is good. So we have a Pep-o-meter.
It's a quarter of the way there.
It is. It's very good, man. That's right. We're a quarter of the way there, and we have a Pep-o-meter that tracks this on our fundraiser page. The link to the fundraiser page is in the description below if you'd like to go check that out and potentially give your support. Now, we are going to be talking about Gen Con 2017. Probably
quite a bit. Yeah,
quite a bit in this episode. But there's some other things we want to talk about as well. For example, I am going to be going to Shucks. What is
Shucks?
Shucks, yes. What is Shucks? Shucks is the Shut Up and Sit Down YouTube channel, podcast, media folk group that are having their first, I think it's their first kind of convention. I think they've been involved in some other conventions, but this is kind of their first official one, I think, as Shut Up and Sit Down. It is sold out currently, so it's a smaller convention, but I'm really excited to be going to it because I think this is a convention, unlike Gen Con, where I am just going to go and play games non-stop games. Did you play a lot of games at Gen Con?
No, not too many.
No.
I played a lot of games after Gen Con.
Okay, well, I played like 2 or 3. We'll talk about which games I played at Gen Con too. But if you're going to Shucks, awesome. I hope to see you there. What else do we have on the list?
Before you get too far, something to remind anyone who's already watching and any new viewers, make sure to put question in all capitals if you have a question for us. It just makes it easier for us to find it when we're scrolling through the comments.
But don't put your question in all caps.
Just the word question.
Just the word question. The rest, don't yell at us. It makes me sad. I wanted to mention that we have a new tutorial video coming out tomorrow.
We do?
We do. Tiny Epic Quest, which again, Pep was helping me with, which was excellent. So now that Pep's working on the show full time, even when I'm doing a tutorial video where normally I would have just done all that myself, Pep will stay there. He's behind the camera. As I'm setting up to record for the next segment, he's getting the camera adjusted, we're moving things around, and you're also, like in the next room, editing chunks of video
that really speeds the process
which helps,
up.
Quite a bit. So that will be releasing tomorrow, Tiny Epic Quest. You know, that is a small box game, the whole Tiny Epic thing. It's a lot of game in that little box. The video is just shy of 30 minutes, believe it or not. So there's a lot happening there.
It's it doesn't need to be shy. It
should be bold.
It's quite a game. Yes, I almost reviewed something.
Careful there, you. Careful.
Speaking of a quest, Jordan Hillis wants to know if I'm embarking on a quest later. Maybe to destroy a ring or a dragon.
Yes, I guess we should probably draw attention to this. In an early tweet to the dead link to the live show, I mentioned we would be providing a cape for this live show. Courtesy of you.
It is a cloak.
Yes, a cloak.
But I suppose it's a little cape-like.
Yes. It's got a hood.
It does. Okay. I don't want to put it up. It'll muss my hair up.
The coif. Yeah, you're going to get warm in that. Listen, if you want to change...
It's very breathable, surprisingly enough.
Yeah, I'm sure it's not as breathable as just air, though. Like, it's probably...
Well, I don't...
Okay. All right.
Oh,
well,
it tastes funny.
Look, you want to wear it, you wear it. I'm not going to make you not wear it. It's your cloak. It looks really nice. Where did you get that?
I got this at Gen Con. I stopped at one of those nice little leather booths. Is it weird for me to call it a leather booth?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I stopped at one of the nice little leather booths, and they had these cloaks.
Is the booth made out of leather?
I think it was. Yeah, I think it's like leather bound upon leather, and they just have leather things for sale.
Right.
On top of the leather.
Lots of, what, leather pants, shirts.
Yeah, lots of
leather
everything.
Leather everything.
But yeah, so no, I picked this up.
It's not leather.
It was surprisingly, it was only like $40, and I thought to myself,
really
getting something like this would be really expensive.
Yeah, me too.
But when I found out it was two $20 bills, suddenly
that money was gone, and you had a cloak.
And I got this little potion bottle too that might go along with my cloak.
What are you going to use that for?
Potions.
Okay,
Potions.
Sorry, dumb question. I also noticed. Look, we got to point these out too. You have these nice little coasters. I assume this is a Gen Con acquisition?
Yeah, I also got these from Gen Con, the dice coasters, and I've used them quite a few times. They work well. They don't mark up or anything.
You've got every type of die here, don't you?
It doesn't have the extra
you got the
D10.
D0.
It doesn't have like the 2-digit D10.
Right. They're very cool.
I guess it makes sense because you can't actually roll them. So
this is the first I've seen. Like, we haven't talked about Gen Con together. It's all been business.
That's true.
We got back, right?
It's kind of like, what games did we get?
Business and Game of Thrones.
Lots of Game of Thrones stuff.
That's right. One of the things that I wanted to talk about before we get some people actually wrote in some questions. I should mention some questions here. We have a board game guild that you can follow on Board Game Geek. If you do a Google for Watch It Played Guild, it should be the first link that comes up.
Usually.
If you'd like to subscribe there, you'll find when we're going to have a live show, I'll try to announce it at least 24 hours in advance, and then people can pre-write in some questions. It just gives us something to sort of start with, and then, of course, we'll jump to your live questions as well. One of the things I wanted to show was a couple of products that I received. Now, this one I got before Gen Con, but they were at Gen Con.
Okay.
All right? This is Dog Mite Games. We're going to switch to the table here. Let's go to the table. Woo! There we are. These are a whole variety of wooden accessories that you can get for games. And first of all, I mean, this is a pretty dominating piece. Speaking of Game of Thrones, here is a dragon-styled dice tray. Oh, look at these. These are, okay, what are these here, Pep?
Oh, they're just little bone dice.
These are yours.
I also grabbed a Gen Con, yeah.
Pep loves his dice, and I think you've got a whole variety of them to show. Actually, why don't you roll a couple of those into this tray? You've got a few sets here, right?
Sure, why not? I'll just...
Okay, let's see. So how many different sets did you buy?
Well, there's these two, which I call my ice cream sets.
Okay.
Because they kind of remind me of ice cream. Oh, those are a little bright.
They are
Makes
pretty
sense.
shiny.
They're just white and yellow. And I got this one I really liked. I'll just set this up here. It is a D20, but it's not. It's actually a D10 twice. You know how you can find those D6s that are actually... Or sorry, the D12s that are like D4s and D6s?
Right.
This is a D20 that's a D10.
Well, this is kind of interesting. Actually, put this on something here. I'm just going to open up and show you right now. This is a dice tower. Let's see if I can do this properly.
Oh, wow.
Ta-da! So this is one of the things that Dogmite makes are these magnetized dice towers. You can see there's like a little, maybe you can't see very easily, but there's a little sort of teeth here for the dice to bounce around in as they go down. So that's kind of a cool little gadget. The other thing here, speaking of dice, is this little dice RPG styled holder. All right, which lets you hold all your dice and a pen, or as I have here, a paintbrush. Because when I play role-playing games, I like to paint all of my information in there.
Well, or maybe you like to paint your character.
Yes.
I remember I did that one game.
Did you really?
Yeah, I played an artist, so every time somebody described a scene to me, I would sit there drawing the scene. No, I'm a terrible artist.
Okay.
So they were terrible, terrible drawings. I should find them sometime to show you.
All right.
They were bad.
I was just lazy. I didn't have a pen nearby.
Grab the first thing.
Grab the first thing.
Surprised there wasn't a toothbrush in there.
That's right.
Those are nice dice in there, though.
These are some of my favorite types of dice. I like blue. Blue's my favorite color.
Are these half-seas dice?
These are that's right, by John Roth. These are the half-sea dice. You're right, exactly. And I do enjoy dice that are a mixture of blue and something else. I have another blue and gold set that I really like as well.
Oh, blue and gold is a fantastic color mix.
It's like a little fireball on the top here, and like fire in general. So again, like, oh, look, it's a phoenix. I think, is it something?
Yes,
or dragon
that
or
looks
something?
like a phoenix.
Yeah, pretty slick. So again, like all these wooden products are from Dogmite Games, but the one thing I really wanted to point out here, the thing that got my attention about them first. Do you mind if I remove your dice, Pat?
Forgone forever.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Were these here? They had a Kickstarter, I believe, for these trays, and you can see they got a little clasp around them, and then we've got a variety of different accessories. I don't suppose you have any cards handy, do you?
Cards?
Like a deck of cards.
You expect me to have a deck of cards?
I do. I expect you
behind me without even having planned this? I do.
Okay, well, good. I realize now the brightness on this screen is just through the roof. I don't know if I can make the adjustment here or not. I'm gonna try to bring the brightness down just a little bit, so it's not quite so shocking to everyone's eyeballs. Oh, I see what the problem is. There.
Exposure was too high?
Yeah, exposure was set to automatic, and it wasn't doing a good job of guessing.
Oh, it exposed itself.
It sure did. Okay, so that's much better.
Oh,
much
beautiful.
Better. All right, sorry everybody. So yeah, if you have a couple, just throw a little slide dice in the cards in there. There we go.
Of course,
see?
I missed.
Look at that. And then we've got these are magnetized. So I believe you put dot to dot, or maybe dot you would ignore. There we go. That's a magnetized. So if you had some cubes or something, right? A person could put those in there. Oh, these must be for what do you think? Coins? Probably coins or something.
Coins.
Right?
Well, we have some of the
We do.
coin-like objects.
Yeah, that's right. These are not rounded, but it looks like this is a sort of a carved out rounded area. In fact, it looks like there's a spot here to even put cards in upright. And these clack together in sort of any kind of configuration that you want. Yeah, some more cubes. We can throw some in here. Ooh, look at that. So yeah, we got another one of these because of course you're gonna have lots of different types of cubes. I just really liked this whole package. Even the tray that these come in is also magnetized, I believe, so that you can, let's see if I've, there you go. Even that will attach.
Oh, look at that. And these hold well.
Yeah, they hold together quite good. So when I went to their booth, I was just really impressed. Everything's really high quality. Not only that, they're super, super friendly. Lindsay was recently interviewed on the D6 Generation. I really enjoyed her interview, kind of hearing about her story, how she was not in the hobby, how she got into it, and now she's part of Dogmatic Games. Oh, look at this, like a turn or life tracker potentially, right? You could use the
I like that.
yeah, little dot there to keep track. So those are just some. Now they come in different stains and wood stains and all the rest of it. Like I've got another whole set here as well, which is kind of more of a dark.
And it's the
red.
same set, but
Yeah, just the same set, just different wood stain for whatever type you like.
okay.
So.
I think I like that red because I'd like the Phoenix seal with it.
Oh yeah, and it goes really well. Yeah, with the dice box or whatever. I should mention, like they didn't not paying me here for any kind of plug. I just really enjoyed the product and wanted to share with you guys in case you hadn't seen it. I love accessories like this that just kind of take your gaming experience, no matter what game you've got, and can kind of punch it up a little bit. So let's see. We'll go back to the comments here. Anyone?
Oh, someone was saying whenever we make our face cam appear, because the two cameras at once, it made echoes. I think it's because you have the sound enabled on both of them.
No, that shouldn't be. Are we hearing an echo right now? I mean, there's always going to be a slight echo in here, but is the echo like
Yes.
echo?
They're kind of also, a bunch of people are saying it now.
Ugh.
It's only when we have both cameras on.
Oh, really? Only when both cameras are on. Okay, so we'll just keep the picture-in-picture off then.
Yeah. No picture-in-picture.
Sorry about that, everyone. I don't know. We've done like 1,000 of these live episodes and still have this. Okay, so we'll just kind of clear all these bits and pieces out.
3 internet points to anyone who knows what game all these pieces came out of.
Oh, that's true. Except for the cards. They're not part of...
No, those are not part of the game.
But everything else. How many internet points are you giving out?
3.
Whew. Generous, Pat. Very generous.
I know.
All right. Well, listen, we've got a question here. I got a question from Dave Thomas. He wrote this actually during our last
Founder
live show.
of Wendy's?
Not that Dave Thomas. I mean, probably not. That'd be from the grave, I guess. Dave Thomas wanted to know, how's your Warhammer 40K experience been so far? Do you think you'll stray far into the tabletop miniatures realm with 40K or Shadow War Armageddon? So these are Games Workshop games. I probably won't stray too far down that path just because I find games like that are a little bit more of a lifestyle game. They're harder to just kind of pop out and just play once every blue moon type of thing. But I did start painting up some Game Workshop miniatures from the 8th edition because they took the entire rule set and condensed it down to about 8 pages.
Okay, yeah.
So,
right, you're showing me that.
Yeah, like that is a much leaner, potentially meaner version of 40K than I think most people think of when you think of that game. You think of big, thick books, which they still have, but a lot of that's fluff and army building and that sort of thing. So I am kind of tempted. I always enjoyed the aesthetic of 40K, and the miniatures they're incredible. The miniatures are some of the best I've ever seen. So yeah, I'm starting to paint. We'll see how far down that rabbit hole I go. What I'm really excited about, beyond words, although I'll use words to express my excitement, is Necromunda. Necromunda, my first ever miniatures game, is coming back. It's being re-released from Games Workshop. Now, Shadow War Armageddon was mentioned here by Dave. That was actually just released recently as well. It doesn't use the Necromunda original figures. It uses the figures currently in the GW line, but uses the old Necromunda rules with a few little changes. This new edition of Necromunda is a new edition, new rules, I'm not going to say new everything, but lots of new stuff in it, which I'm really excited about, because my feeling is game design has probably evolved somewhat in the last decade or so.
I would like to hope.
You'd like to hope so, right? So I'm excited to see what they do to potentially take Necromunda, one of my favorite miniatures games, and kind of bring it into the modern gaming age. So something I'm looking forward to. So thanks for the question, Dave. I hope that was satisfactory.
I just want to award Michael Galagos his 3 internet points for correctly guessing. Michael. Well, he put LOW, but I know he means Lords of Waterdeep.
He's going. He just knows, right? He can just throw the acronym out there and knows you'll know what it is.
He knows, yeah.
Well done. I see you've got some other dice here. I do kind of want to see this one. Maybe we can go to the table and not put the combo on there. This
one's quite interesting.
Very.
I guess, yeah.
Again, the blur. So blurry.
I was actually just going to bring it up closer. So it's a little bit blurry, but the basic idea of this dice is that it's like a DM tool. So when you roll it, it rolls every dice at the same time. So if you look on the faces, which you won't be able to see very clearly, but you can see that in this example, I rolled 2 on a D4, 2 on a D12, 1 on a D6, 8 on a D8. So if I ever needed to roll all the dice at the same time, I rolled this in.
Oh,
I almost rolled it onto the floor.
You almost pulled a full pep.
Yeah, but no, I was really amazed. Yeah, and it includes a bunch of non-standard rolls too, like 3, 5, 7.
You find the craziest things.
Yeah. But I was I was excited when I saw this.
Well, maybe we should talk a little bit about Gen Con in general.
Yeah.
What do you think? Now, I am seeing
General Con.
In the General Con, I am seeing in the comments there's a delay. Things are out of sync. I don't know. I don't know how to solve that problem yet.
Well, if someone's talking about just a 5-second delay, they might just mean to us talking about the comments and stuff, which is normal anyway.
But my concern is that they're probably saying there's just like a big delay. As we're talking, our mouths are moving at a different time. I don't know. We'll see.
Someone else suggested something too, that they wonder if the mic is one that syncs with the others. I saw somebody mentioning that they were interested in this dice. This specifically comes from Game Science.
He means that die.
I do that all the time.
Yeah.
This comes from Game Science. If you want to go look up Game Science, they have a bunch of very interesting dice like this. And they make the, what do you call these? I never remember the precision dice.
They're like very sharp and pointy, right?
They're sharp and pointy.
There's no rounded edges.
And they're not like there's no bubbling in the process. Like normally when you make normal dice, there's bubbling and imperfection in the dice.
Okay.
But the precision dice are made in a way that avoids that.
I guess more balanced then?
In theory, yes.
What is this die?
That is a D5. So this includes all those weird...
A D5?
Yeah.
It's kind of triangular, but there are numbers on these sides or whatever as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Strange. Okay.
They're very sharp though.
Well, let's talk a little bit about Gen Con in general here, and then we'll get into a bunch of your questions. Did you have any travel mishaps?
Yes, on the way home.
Oh yeah, you got stuck, didn't you? You got delayed.
Well, we got potentially stuck because we had a bunch of connections, and our second connection was late, which meant we would miss the third connection, would have got stuck in Montreal, but we just got a direct flight from Toronto to Charlottetown instead. So everything turned out fine in the end. But it was basically because we ran into a very nice customer service person, and I can't remember his name. He gave it to me. It was like a 3-letter acronym. I have to... Thanks you for reminding me. I have to send a message to his superiors to say he was amazing.
Oh, really?
No, it was just the best experience I've ever had with a human being in an airport, like customer service-wise. Like normally it's just
human being in an
we
airport.
Can't help you.
Okay.
And he was just... He sat there for like 20, 30 minutes... like just tinkering away to see what he could find, and he eventually found 5 of us a new flight.
That's impressive. What airline was it?
Air Canada.
Air Canada.
Yeah.
Right on. Yeah, I always try to travel Air Canada. I'm sure everyone has their horror stories from every airline, but that one's always been pretty good for me. I'm glad to hear you had a good experience.
I like WestJet too, but
me too.
Normally I go with WestJet, but Air Canada did good this time.
I normally have mishaps.
Oh, well, every time.
Every time. And
I try not to travel with you anymore.
It's true. I cannot blame you. And yet, this time, they didn't even... Like, when I was going through customs to enter the country, which is normally where I get hung up, they just ushered me through it, and I explained. They didn't even look at my passport. They didn't look at it. They just, go ahead, sir, go ahead. They just fired me right through. I don't know.
Happened to me too.
I don't know if my name's been cleared in the U.S. because, again, I'm convinced there's somebody out there named Rodney Smith who's up to some devious things that is besmirching my name, and maybe
It's probably just you.
maybe he got caught finally, and now I can roam free again across our borders. Anyway, so yeah, I didn't have any real traveling mishaps. What about games that you played? Did you play any games at Gen Con?
I didn't get to play a lot of games at Gen Con itself, although I did do a demo for Dragonfire.
Right. That is by Catalyst Games, I want to say.
It is, yes.
Okay.
And it's basically a remake, or like it uses the same system from
Shadowrun
Crossfire.
Right.
Yeah.
But reimagined in the D&D world.
Yeah,
right?
using like the 5th edition art and everything. It was a game.
So close. So close. Yeah, you've been playing it, though, a fair bit?
Yeah, we've started up a campaign with a group of us here, and we've got through 6 or 7 games of it.
Okay, so take that as you will.
And we've only lost one time.
Oh, very nice.
Now, if you've played Shadowrun Crossfire,
you lose every time.
You'd be surprised at that. So it's similar, but very different.
Okay. But still, would you say challenging?
Yeah, it was challenging. And when we lost with like 1 turn left. Like if we had 1 more turn or like 1 more mana, we would have won. And so we didn't get any sort of a feeling of, oh, this was hopeless.
Right.
We felt like we definitely could have done this if we did it a little differently.
I do recall with Crossfire feeling it was a little hopeless at times.
Oh yeah, I've lost
like all
on
the
like
times.
turn 2 sometimes in that game.
Right, exactly.
Some things just come out. It's like, you can't draw cards. Everybody discards their entire hand.
Put the game away.
Stop
the game
playing.
away. Yeah, it's pretty bad.
A plane crashes into your window. Like, what's happening?
Evacuate. I played a few more games than you, it sounds like, which is surprising.
It is surprising.
The very first night, I played Crossfire. A whole bunch of us were just outside. We were just hanging around outside, and I had that game in my pocket, a little tiny game from Emerson Matsuichi. It is what he likes, I think of Emerson as taking games maybe that are a little more involved or complex and just sort of distilling them down to their sort of bare bones. Where's the fun in this game? Find that and kind of just amp that up a bit. So Crossfire is a social deduction game. We all get a roll, and we're all trying to accomplish something. But the game plays in about 5 minutes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I think you set the timer. You set the timer for 3 minutes, I think, and so the full thing would take about 5 minutes in total. Because you have like 1 minute to discuss or talk, I think, and then it's just point and accuse each other. And it's a game as well. Which I have played a few times. Anyway, that was a game that was for sale at Gen Con, and so I picked up a copy.
And just to clarify for anyone listening, when he says Crossfire, he's not referencing Shadowrun Crossfire, which we were just talking about directly before.
Or that old, I think, maybe Hasbro or Mattel game, Crossfire, where you're firing the marbles
which
across.
Just had a new version released just before Gen Con.
I will say Emerson and Platt had maybe Crossfire as a name, you're inviting a little confusion there. But yes, yeah. Anyway,
there's quite a few Crossfires going on right now.
Quite a few. I played another game called That's a Question, and this is by Vlada Shavatal. I won't go into the details of it because if you want to hear me talk about that a little bit more, on the Rolling Dice and Taking Names podcast, both Marty and Tony, the hosts of that, I bunked with them at Gen Con. And so every night we'd come back. I say bunk, I mean we stayed in a hotel room together. We weren't like we weren't at a camp.
Yeah,
and we weren't in bunk
and you
beds.
weren't like sleeping in the same bed.
Right? No. Well, yes. Sometimes.
Controversy.
There was controversy. There was 3 of us, and there was 2 beds. I mean, that's how it goes.
That's fair.
We actually took turns.
Oh.
So that someone would get a bed by themselves at least once during the trip. Anyway, I'm sure that was something you needed to know. I wanted to mention that every night, again, we got together, we recorded a little conversation about what we did that day and what we saw, and that is on the most recent episode of the Rolling Dice and Taking Names podcast, which you can listen to, and I encourage you to do so. Another game that I played there was with those guys as well. Lorenzo Il Magnifico. You have to say it that way when you say it.
Oh, I just...
I think with you wearing a cloak, I feel like it'd be perfect for you.
Lorenzo Il Magnifico.
Perfect. Isn't that amazing? Who doesn't want to play that now? I want to play it right now with you in that cloak. So it's a very Euro-y game. I won't go into the details of it. It's from Simon, though. Simon Games. And they aren't just the miniatures games as we know. Like we've got games like The Grizzled and other ones like that. And this is another one in that line of games that is, it going a different direction from what I think their brand has been known for in the past.
No, well, it's part of their brand because see, all the other games are the cool mini. This one is the or not.
Right?
It's or not.
There's
or
not
no
games.
minis.
Right. It was always baked into the title of their company.
I know.
Right.
They were waiting.
And they've done it because there was a ton of their games for sale. Their booth was slammed and packed. Actually, The Godfather, which I did a video for, that was, I think, for sale there as well. I didn't even spend a lot of time in their booth. I had a hard time getting around that dealer hall. Did you find you got through the whole dealer hall?
Actually, funny enough, well, as always, never get through the entire dealer hall. I didn't even end up in the stadium. I didn't get to see anything in the stadium.
So there's the Lucas Oil Stadium as well, which they've expanded into, which they have a whole lot of other things as well to give more breathing room to the entire convention.
But funny enough, even though this was the first Gen Con that ever sold out, so there's more people there than ever,
yes,
I actually found the halls of the dealer hall
yes.
Less crowded than usual. I found it was easier for me to get around than it was previous years.
I will concur, except for
certain areas.
Thursday. I found Thursday, I don't know if it was just because people are rushing to get stuff. Every day was sold out, which has not been true in the past. So Thursday was as full as any other day.
Yeah.
But when Saturday rolled around, which is normally the busy day, it was busy, but I didn't feel like it was the craziness I remember.
Yeah. And I guess I didn't actually get to the dealer hall Thursday morning. It wasn't until Thursday afternoon, too.
Okay.
So I probably didn't get that first rush of... Yeah.
I think also they capped the attendance to a lower amount than they had last year.
Really?
So part of the reason why they sold out is because I think they capped it around 60, I want to believe, which might again be an effort to make the entire experience a little more enjoyable for those who do attend Gen Con.
That's fair, and it's not like it sold out well in advance. People had plenty of time to get on board.
Yeah, to make their plans. I'll just say quickly 2 other games that I played. Okanagan, which is a game by Matago, I did not actually play, but there's a recording of me playing it on the no pun included YouTube channel, which I should put a link to in the description below so you can find that video. I had a chance to meet Efka and Elaine, the host of that show, and that was really nice. And we did a little skit, which you can see in that video. I also got a chance to meet again John from John Gets Games, really delightful guy. All of them. Actually, that's one of the nicest things about going to these conventions is it is a nice opportunity to meet other colleagues in the board game media world and talk to them face to face. We're all generally mutually fans of each other's work, so it's kind of nice to be able to meet in person and kind of make that connection, which is cool.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Yeah, those were all the games I played except for one other one, a Power Up, which was like an RPG style type of game, which I played as part of a Jack Vassal Memorial Fund fundraiser event with the Cedar Cabal. Jamie from the Cedar Cabal Game podcast has kindly invited me to be a part of that with Jeff Engelstein. I think the last 3 years we've done that together with whoever gave the greatest donation for that perk. So keep an eye out for that. In this year's Jack Vassal Memorial Fund fundraiser efforts, we'll probably have something like that again. Basically, the person who donates the most gets to pick the game that we'll play, and then we play it together.
Now, I guess I technically lied. There were a couple other games that I quickly played. I didn't count them. I finally got to play Happy Salmon.
Oh, you've never played Happy Salmon before?
I have now.
Really?
Really.
Okay. I feel like I failed you there. I'm sorry.
And I also finally got to play Kodama. I didn't play Kodama yet either.
The tree.
The tree one, yeah. And
we have a video for that, actually.
We do.
Yeah.
Embarrassingly enough, I haven't played all the games you've made videos for.
I think that's probably reasonable, honestly.
That's fair.
Yeah.
And then just after Gen Con ended and I was still in Indianapolis, I did get to play Wordsy. Okay. Which is
Gilhova, I believe.
It's Gilhova, and it's kind of like Scrabbly.
Yes.
It's got like a Scrabbly idea where there's words and And speaking of words, I also played Ex Libris, or as I like to call it, Libris Mortis, which I was quickly corrected because that's actually the Book of the Dead.
Okay.
And it has nothing to do with that game. But it's like you're a librarian, and I was a gelatinous cube librarian.
Okay.
And you're building libraries.
I don't really know anything about this game. Before Gen Con, I felt like there's always that kind of rush before the convention.
Oh,
what are the games? What are the ones we want to go see and everything? And I still had my head in the games from Origins. Like I wasn't ready to start thinking about Gen Con's games. But I kept hearing about Ex Libris, and the theme of it interested me.
Oh, yes.
And I wanted to pick that one up, and I just never...
And there's something like 137 different cards, and each card has between 2 to 4 books on it, and every book has a different title and unique title, and they're all very funny. It's very thematically pleasing.
Yeah, and so that's from Renegade Games. I believe the designer's Adam McIver. Really nice guy.
You're really good at that.
I'm terrible with names, and yet I think in the gaming space, I kind of get in that zone and I can remember.
You remember?
It helps. I've seen these names over and over again, which is
my gosh!
What?
I forgot the most important one. I mean the last one.
Yes.
Starfinder.
Oh.
I got to attend a Starfinder, like making your first character.
So Starfinder
session.
is the sci-fi version of Pathfinder by Paizo Games, right?
Yes, and it's not literally Pathfinder in space or anything like that.
Oh, okay.
But like it does bleed over a lot of similarities. But yeah, I really liked being in that seminar.
Yes.
And I really liked the information that I heard. And the books sold out the first day, so I didn't have a chance to get one.
Anyone new to the channel, we just we try to avoid reviewing or recommending games on here.
I'm very bad at it.
He's very bad at it. And we dance this fine line. I went to the I didn't have this in my notes, but I went to the fantasy. I almost said Final Fantasy Games booth.
In-flight report.
Yeah, the in-flight report for Fantasy Flight Games, and they didn't really have a ton of what I would call new announcements, because a lot of those things they spoil or announce before the event. But the one big one was probably Star Wars Legion, which is the new miniatures game coming from them, which is more of that traditional minis game where you have individual troops that make up a unit. They all move together by measuring distances and so on. And it's in Star Wars setting. It's ground troops, so it's a deviation from their already very popular X-Wing, which is all flight based, right?
Yeah, of course.
So it looks like a game, I have to say.
I was very neutral about that other one they announced. Which, do you remember? It was kind of like you're on a quest to expand
neutral.
your village.
Oh, do you mean it's Civilization?
No, it was announced, I think, right after Civilization.
Oh. Not the Catan one.
No, because the Game of Thrones Catan was neat looking too.
Yeah.
But no, it was like you're on a quest and there's this village. And
Stronghold, Dragonholt, or something.
Dragonholt,
yes,
yeah,
the journey quest
like
of Dragonholt.
Yeah, that looked really interesting.
Yeah, it looked very neutral.
Oh, sure. I'll just say it's interesting.
Yeah, no, I'm kidding.
And of course, Fallout was announced. Fallout was announced before, but Fallout was talked about a little more there too.
Right. Yeah.
And I mean, don't hurt me. I haven't played Fallout.
Yeah, I haven't either. So.
Although I keep getting told I should.
Yeah, well, there's 1,000 things we should all be doing.
I know. But the game looked like a game.
It did. Listen, Star Wars Legion, I watched a half-hour demo of it, so I was quite keen to stick around and see what it had to offer. Let's just put it that way. Yeah. I also saw, I'll just mention again, quickly, 2 little games, and then we can move on from this. Maybe we should answer some questions, probably, for all these nice people who've been waiting. But I did see a couple games from Planet Games, which I was super excited by. I did mention them in the Rolling Dice Taking Names podcast episode I was on, but Crystal Clans, which shares some of the DNA of Summoner Wars, but...
It sounds painful, sharing DNA.
Yeah, well, I'm not saying they extracted it, but you know what I mean. You have units that are cards that you put on a board and move around on a grid-like surface. So that's similar to Summoner Wars, but very different art style, quite different mechanisms. I mean, there's some things that are similar. No dice. So the luck element has sort of been removed. It's about card play. And Stuffed Fables, again, there's a lot of different places you can look that up, but I would advise taking a look at it. It's very interesting. If you saw our Near and Far playthrough.
Oh, I saw the art from that.
Yeah, stunning, right? Yeah, really good.
Very,
really
very
good.
Cute.
And the way the scenarios are, they're in this book, similar to Near and Far, where you flip each page, and one half is the map, or thing that you're playing on, and the other half is the scenario setup. Yeah, it's pretty awesome. It's like 100 pages. Wow. So that's like 50 scenarios. And they're not all a map grid. Some of them are like a different kind of game that you're playing, basically.
Interesting.
And it tells us the story of a young girl as she grows up, through her life. So very, very cool looking. And Jerry Hawthorne, I really like Jerry, and I like his games, and so I'm very excited about that one. I have a few other things to say about Gen Con, but let's take a moment here. You need some water? Okay. Let's take a moment here and answer some of your questions. So let me do my best here to scroll way up.
Oh, that's so many so far.
Well, I'm sure there's a lot of chat here about our questionable live streaming abilities. I have no doubt. So, yes.
I love all the little pop, pip, pop conversation that went on in there.
Andre, yes, you're right. We do need PEP. Yes, please support the fundraiser. That's wonderful. Okay.
No, there actually weren't very many questions at the top.
That's right. It's all the people commenting on this echo that occurred during the picture-in-picture.
I don't remember hearing an echo.
Echo. Well, oh boy. Okay, let's see here. Question. Okay, so Netter's Play asks, will you be covering more Euro-based games in the future, something heavier like Lisboa. I would love to see a playthrough.
Oh, Lisboa.
I mean, I think right now, my memory's terrible, but when I think of, like Near and Far, I would call that, would you call that a Euro game?
No, weirdly enough, I wouldn't, because to me the village part is Euro, but the other part isn't, and I feel like the other part is more important.
I think the other part is
more important.
No, I think the other part
You
is
think the other
Euro-y.
part is Euro-y?
I think the one part maybe look, this, now we're in hybrid space where all the games have like some mix of Euro elements and Ameritrash elements, but I think it has the combat. You're right. In the village you can fight. That's kind of Ameritrashy, I suppose, and it's certainly got the production values of Ameritrash, but it's a lot of assigning resources and moving around and doing stuff. You can't really fight or get in each other's way too much. I guess you can chase each other to stuff
a little bit,
but yeah,
I'm sure Netters means more traditional,
like drier Euros. Is that
yeah, probably the dry Euro idea.
Yeah, I think you mentioned Netters here, like Lisboa,
like Lords of Waterdeep.
like Lords of Waterdeep. I would go like that's a Euro, but I don't know if even that is that what you're referring to. It's hard to know. It depends on how you define this Euro thing. Like Tiny Epic Quest.
Oh yes,
Euro or not?
Ooh, okay, that honestly is hard. I don't know how to. Like, I would think it's a Euro, but there's a lot of non-Euro style
mechanics.
There's
some dicey stuff in there.
There's dice, there's hurting each other. Yeah, that's a hard one.
But the hurting in there is not me attacking you. It's purely a pushing your luck type of thing. Yes, I suspect we'll be doing some more Euros. Lisboa specifically, I can tell you, I don't have any plans currently. I am interested in that game because I find Vital Lacerda's games just interest me anyway. We really enjoyed doing the Gallerist and the playthrough. That was quite a lot of fun.
Very fun playthrough.
Yeah, so certainly I'm intrigued, but it's the kind of game that would be difficult for me to sort of just wedge into the schedule somewhere. And right now the schedule is pretty full for the next few months. But there are some Euros in there, so hopefully something that you find interests you.
I do enjoy doing Euros for the playthrough because you kind of...
like First Merchants, there's a Euro.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
That's hard again, too.
Yeah, I mean, there's the dice rolling in there, but...
I feel like people know now, like designers know now that there's that like big distinction between Euro and Ameritrash, and they're just kind of trying to just...
bring it together.
Push them together enough that people can't call their game one or the other.
Yeah, that's right. I think so. I think that's a whole other discussion. It'd be fun to kind of take games and like debate, Euro or not, you know what I mean? Or something like that, like lightheartedly debate it. All right, so... The Mr. E says, question, do you really have 3 full glasses of water on the table?
I only had 1 over here. I normally have 4. So
yeah, you're down a few glasses of water than normal.
Yeah.
And you started taking mine. Let's see here. Take Your Chits says, it's not water. Take Your Chits, excellent YouTube channel. Please check it out. I believe his name is Christian. This really... How do I describe these? They're not tutorials, they're not reviews. It's kind of more commentary on aspects of our hobby. If you think about kind of the Table Talk episodes that we did, they're like that, but just way better. So, no, Christian has a great YouTube channel. Click on his link in there in the chat and go find it and subscribe. It's really good. Hi, Ambi. I see you in the chat. It was good seeing you at Gen Con. Okay, so we got a question here. How you doing tracking the questions there? Is it hard to see?
Ben Peterson wants to know, what is your opinion on specific dice like Game Science or Fully Metal dice compared to the regular Chessex and Q Workshop?
Well, this is going to have to go to you. You are the resident expert on dice.
Well, these are actually my first Game Science dice that I've had, and I haven't really had a chance to play with them yet to know. But just the basic feeling of them, the sharp edges are painful.
I'm going to tell you my complaint about them. Hopefully this doesn't cause some kind of crazy echo. Unfortunately, it's going to cause... look at this blur. It's pointless. I'm going back to the headshot.
Yeah.
I can't see the numbers.
Oh, yeah. You can get them inked, but...
I don't care for dice where there's not a high contrast between the numbers and the die sides. It's just a hang-up of mine. But they're nice dice. That's the thing
I suppose to basically answer your question is... I really appreciate that there are companies like Game Science that make more customized dice, because if I want a very specific kind of thing, like this ridiculous dice that rolls every dice at once, it's nice to know that I can find it at something like Game Science. And it came with a 2-page instruction manual just to make sure. Now, the normal
understand how
dice,
to read it type of thing?
Yeah, the normal dice are very simple, but if you need to know how to read like the 3s and 5s, there's a special formula to it.
Yeah, I think you're right. It is nice to have a company that's doing some niche aspects of the hobby, because that's Probably not going to sell as well as the more common Chessex dice, which have more common uses. But these are the things that kind of just keep it pushing and advancing our hobby a little bit in little ways by doing something different and unique, right?
Yeah, and I must admit, it's a little strange paying $20 for this, which you probably can't tell, but this is hard plastic and hollow.
And very hollow. Yeah, it's very light.
Hollow.
Yeah.
Compared to, I could have got one of the large, gem dice for also $20.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it's...
I would say this does feel cheaper.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean.
I dropped it, and it might have cracked a little.
Okay. But it's cool. All right. So thanks for the question, Ben. All right. Remember, if you would like to ask a question, put question in all caps, and then your question following that in not all caps.
I could talk about dice all day, though. So.
Yes, I know. All right. Oh, so Jordan Hills would like to know, question, was Pep on Team Strike or Team Dice in a bowl? So maybe we give a little preface to what this is about in case people aren't familiar. There's a game called Strike that I will promote to you as a game of gladiatorial combat. Some people have said that it is instead simply, here we go. It is instead simply dice in a bowl. It's a total fallacy, but that is an opinion held by many, many people. And so Rolling Dice and Taking Names had their meetup, their first official meetup, I believe, at Gen Con, and they had a Strike tournament. And the idea was to settle once and for all, is this a game of gladiatorial arena combat, or is it dice in a bowl? And Marty, the host of that show, says it's dice in a bowl, and Tony, the other host, says, no, it's gladiatorial arena combat. In the end...
Oh, I thought they were on the opposite. I thought Marty...
No, he's dice in the bowl. He's Team Tupperware, another name.
Oh, I like that. Yeah. I like that better. Team Tupperware. Team Tup!
So the at the end of this tournament that everyone participated in, whichever side won... Marty or Tony would then concede for the rest of the year to one of those titles. And I am happy well, first of all, which side were you on? Or which side are you on?
Well, I didn't attend the meetup. I am definitely on the...
Dice on the floor.
Dice on the floor. Yes. I am on the dice on the floor. Yeah. I'm on the dice in a bowl.
Dice in a bowl team.
Yeah, for sure.
So your team lost handily. Handily? I shouldn't say handily. It was actually a very close match.
Well, it's basically just randomly.
Toby, not fan of dice roll. Toby won the competition, and what that also meant, you're trying to get that dice desperately, aren't you?
I got it.
You got it. What this meant was that the loser of the hosts had to wear a squirrel costume, a onesie, the next day at Gen Con, and Marty looked delightful in it and very hot. Very sweaty hot. Not the other kind of hot. Just very, very uncomfortably hot. So I was thrilled. And the meetup was fantastic. That was actually on here for me to mention. The meetup was excellent. There was around 100 people there. They actually had to turn people away at the door. Oh. They didn't even know that was happening at the meetup until later. They found out that the people who worked there were like, no, we're full. You can't come in, kind of thing. So there could have been even more people there. So a big congratulations to them. That was a lot of fun. If they have one again next year, consider going. It was a really good time. So let's see. What other questions do we have here? Okay.
Oh, yeah. I don't know why I'm trying to read yours. I have a screen in front of me.
Mac Thatcher asks, who is your favorite American to follow around the entire con asking for a friend? So Gen Con is this massive convention, relatively speaking. It's like a needle in a haystack sometimes trying to find people. And then there will always be one or two people at this convention that you can't stop running into. You just keep seeing.
I know mine.
Do you? Yeah, well, Mac Thatcher was mine. So Mac, I got your joke. Every time I turned a corner, there was Mac. Every time he turned a corner, there was Rodney. We just kept running into each other over and over and over again. Thankfully, he's a delightful chap, so it was actually very pleasant. What about you?
Well, I have two. I kept running into Jessica Fitcher.
Yes. Oh, I didn't run into her once. Very disappointing.
Yeah. I kept running into her constantly. We played games together the one night. And the other person was Mark Street.
Oh, yes, I ran into him a couple times as well.
Now, the funny thing about Mark is that we have this thing where every convention, we always run into each other, usually once, and we'll take pictures together.
Right.
And we'll just have something fun to take pictures behind us. This time, I ran into him so early. First of all, I saw him before the hall even opened on Thursday. No, on Wednesday. I saw him on Wednesday
the day before.
When it was being set up, yeah. And I didn't say anything because I didn't want to interact yet. I wanted to save our one interaction for later.
Hide from him?
I could have ran up to said hi and I didn't.
Okay.
And then we ran into each other like the next day again. And
what if you'd never seen him again? What if you
I
hadn't?
would have. No, it happens.
It just happens. Okay, I understand.
And I remember the next time I saw him, it was still pretty early in the con, and he's like, "Do you want to do the picture now?" And I said, "No, definitely don't want to do the picture now. Let's wait until later. It's too early." And I ran into him, I think, 3 more times, and eventually we got this great picture.
I can see him by the end of it, like, now? Can we take the picture? Now, Pep, please, this time, please. Not yet, Mark.
But we got this great picture. I was wearing the cloak at the time, too, so it was perfect. Of us with, the Bloodborne logo, where it's like the guy holding the knives backwards or whatever.
Yeah.
We got a picture of the 2 of us, like, doing the same pose.
I have not seen this picture yet.
Yeah, I haven't posted it yet.
Okay.
I'm going to post it tonight, I think.
All right, good. I have a whole host of Gen Con pictures.
I know, I haven't got to it yet either.
I definitely want to put those up. It's always fun to share. That's kind of like the pictures are kind of a nice memento of the trip, because I find it goes by so fast.
It does.
Like a big old blur.
Next up is Natalie Bartlett.
Yes. Hi, Natalie.
She wants to know, is that a sword collection next to Rodney's head? You may have talked about this before. If not, I'm super curious.
No, those are just hilts. There's nothing past them.
Nothing past.
Yeah, no, that is a... I should know what they're called by now. You've said...
Shinai.
Shinai.
There's some fencing foils up there.
Can you
and
tell me again what a Shinai is?
It's a bamboo practice sword for kendo.
Okay.
Which someone asked later on, too, if I do kendo. And
all right.
Casually. There is a bastard sword up there, too. But you can barely see it in the picture.
Is it Jon Snow's?
It's not.
Right.
It actually has a flower on it, so it's more likely Loris Tyrell's.
Yeah,
Loris?
Yeah. Loris?
Loris?
Yeah. I think
Loris.
so. Is he Iron Fist?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. Well, not in Game of Thrones.
I started... the crossover we've all been waiting to see. Maybe he'd be decent. I've just started watching Iron Fist. Now, I have steeled myself to prepare for the worst.
A lot of people are. I'm on the it's not very good side.
Yeah, everyone I've talked to has said, not good, terrible. I'm a big Marvel fanboy. I mean, look, nothing against DC. I just tend to lean a little more Marvel. And I've enjoyed all of the TV shows. I mean, to varying degrees, but I've enjoyed them. And I'm just waiting for this one to be bad. I watched the first episode, and I have to say, I was like, okay, that wasn't so bad.
Yeah.
But I think maybe it's because
that's basically the feeling the whole show for me. Okay. It's like, okay.
Which is not a ringing endorsement. But I don't want to watch The Defenders until I've seen Iron Fist, so I'm going to try to make my way through that.
The Defenders is very much about Iron Fist, so.
Okay, I guess I better keep going then.
You better.
All right. Okay, so we're gonna go down here.
Oh, I'm surprised. They're doing
pretty good here.
Pretty good for... Oh, there's one.
So, Ulrich Penning asks, why does the IndieGoGo page for Watch It Played look all weird in my browser? I don't know. That's a good question. I'm not sure. It could depend. Are you looking on mobile? Because I think sometimes on mobile it gets a little funky.
Yes, I remember I looked at it on mobile and it was...
Yeah, so that could be it. Although if you're looking on a computer or PC or Mac or something and it's looking weird, I'm not sure. Maybe if you mentioned which browser, I could look it up, but I'm not sure right off the top of my head. It looks fine when I look at it in Chrome, for example.
Quality Beast, in a similar question, wants to know why you use IndieGoGo and not Kickstarter.
That's a great question.
Curious about the pros and cons. I don't know if we have time for the pros and cons.
No, I'll just quickly say I started out using IndieGoGo because going to Kickstarter was not an option.
It was impossible.
It didn't have a Canadian option back when I first started fundraising on IndieGoGo. Now you can do it on Kickstarter, but I'm used to IndieGoGo. I'm more familiar with that format, and I've done it a few times. And I have some software that I had custom designed to work with the interface of IndieGoGo to pull addresses and things like that, and also to send out surveys and stuff after the fundraiser is over. I wouldn't say I would never consider Kickstarter, but I haven't just made the jump because of that reason primarily.
Yeah.
Maybe
in the future.
That's essentially it. I mean, there is an argument to be made that Kickstarter might be better for our fundraiser because more people, I do believe, surf Kickstarter for just gaming-related things.
Yeah, and in some ways you might have someone who actually finds your show for the first time that way.
Potentially. I mean, I've always kind of resisted this idea of like someone finding us for the first time through a fundraiser and donating. Because I want your money. I don't want your money if you haven't watched our show and don't value it in some way. Like, I'm not just looking for people to throw money at the screen kind of thing. I want like, oh, Watch It Played. I've watched several of the episodes. This is valuable to me. I want this in my life. Here's some support type of thing. But I will say this. I am changing my tune a little bit because I think I've realized something about Watch It Played and our fundraisers compared to other campaigns, like say the Dice Tower or the Secret Cabal Game podcast, when they launch their fundraiser, it has an explosive start, and then it kind of like, it drops off and trickles out. Whereas Watch It Played, both years now in a row, we've had like a very healthy start, and then a long tail. It never really drops off. It just like trickles like this.
And it's got like a little scorpion thing at the end.
That's right, a little tail at the end, right? To get you. And we've always reached our goals and our stretch goals, and sometimes even beyond that. But it takes a long time, and I'm like, why are my fundraisers so different?
And it's stressful.
It's a little more nerve-wracking, to be honest, not knowing exactly what your future holds.
I don't know if I have a job.
Yes, that's right. But I think I realized what the issue is. Watch It Played's YouTube channel is a terrible method of delivering time-sensitive information. What I mean is, if you listen to the Dice Tower podcast or you listen to the Secret Cabal Gaming podcast, both excellent, you should check them out. If they're having a fundraiser, they'll announce that 5 or 6 times before it actually launches.
Yeah.
Every time you are subscribed to a podcast, all of the subscribers get that podcast into their phone or whatever. Then you're mowing the lawn, you're doing the dishes or whatever, and you're listening, and you're just hearing. Watch It Play is a little different. I think there are certainly some people who follow all of our content, watch all the different shows and gameplays, they just want to check games out. But a lot of people are very selective, which is very reasonable. Maybe you don't have an interest in Dead of Winter, but you do Ethnos, so you pick and choose which ones you're going to watch.
Yeah, and they might simply watch an episode that is relative to a game they just bought.
Right, exactly.
It's like, I just bought this game. How do I play?
I'll go look after I buy a game to see if Watch It Played has a video or whatever, but they're not necessarily actively watching everything. And so what that means is when we announce things like on a news episode, hey, we're having our fundraiser, unlike a podcast where all of the subscribers potentially are getting that information, a very small percentage of our viewers will actually see that announcement. So of the potential number of people who would be interested in donating, a very small percentage of them even know we're having a fundraiser right now. So that's why all of the other fellow board game media creators have been so helpful and kind in sharing the word on Twitter, on their podcasts. It makes a big difference because Watch It Play doesn't have the same kind of platform for pushing that information out. You know what I mean? So that's just kind of an interesting observation I've made. It's made me think that moving forward, things like, again, going to Kickstarter with a bigger platform, if it just gets it in front of the people who actually would donate, that's a good thing, right? And maybe I need to have a newsletter or even like a little podcast or something for that kind of content and just other things that people can watch or listen to that doesn't require them sitting down in front of a computer too.
Time to make a Watch It Played podcast.
Oh gosh.
Watch It Pod.
I don't know where I would put that in my schedule. Okay. So, Quality, thanks for the question. Quality Beast. I think I just jumped.
No, I think it...
I jumped.
You definitely jumped.
Oh, I definitely jumped down there. I apologize.
Oh, hardest part. That's it.
Here we go. Here we go. Found it. Before I go to more questions here from you guys, I'm just going to read another question from our guild, okay, just to catch up on these. Zach Wilson asked, what one game would you like to create content for, yet it would be too difficult to accomplish? CCGs or other collectible games excluded. So
no Magic the Gathering.
Right, no Magic the Gathering. So I have an answer for this. So maybe I'll go first because I know you didn't get a chance to look at these in advance. Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition comes to mind.
Oh, yes.
It's the most popular, best-selling role-playing game currently, and certainly historically in the past, I think it's been probably the most well-known role-playing game, right? So it has an interest to me there. Role-playing games in general, I think, can be challenging, but it's been sitting in the back of my mind for 2 or 3 years now. I'd like to do it. And funny enough, on Twitter, someone asked me today, would you consider doing, I think it was Suzanne actually, would you consider doing a Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition kind of tutorial? Yeah. And I was like, well, not really. But then I thought about it more. I'm like, oh, God, I would love to do that. But it would be, I don't know how I'd tackle it. I think you'd have to tackle just doing the starter box or something. Like just try to take a simple, hey, here's how you get in to role-playing. Because to do the full rules would be crazy, I think.
Well, the full rules would be crazy. And then on top of that, like the idea of DMing, which you would need to know to have
it's like a whole other side.
It's a whole other side, and it's so broad and open to interpretation. Like you can teach someone exactly how to DM or GM, but you can't really teach someone in a tutorial, I think, how to DM well.
No, you can't. I mean, I would probably say though that's similar to, I don't know, teaching the rules to a game. We're not teaching you how to play well either. We're not teaching you good strategies. But you're right. It is a key aspect. But you can't really
play D&D without a DM or a GM who can function in some way.
Yeah, the enjoyment of that game is probably going to fall a lot on how good the GM is. That's which effectively what you're saying, right?
Yeah, effectively.
So you're right. So that is an aspect to it, is how do you become a good DM. I'll tell you maybe a good suggestion for that. I mentioned the Secret Cabal Gaming podcast. They have a sort of a sister-brother kind of podcast in their same subscription feed called Lords of the Dungeon that is focused specifically on role-playing games. And they do talk about tips and tricks and that sort of thing. So that might be something, if you're interested in role-playing games, you might want to check out. So yeah, I think Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition, I've bought all of the books. I've just stopped buying. I think I'm done being crazy because I haven't played a lick of the game yet. But I want to play it. And I know we will sometime.
It'll happen.
It'll happen.
I'll force it.
You'll force it to happen.
That's something you could easily do a gameplay of, too.
Oh, I mean, it would be great for a gameplay. I
Yeah.
mean, once you tackle the rules in some kind of semblance, to then just be able to just kind of play it and show it, that'd be quite fun, I think.
Yeah.
Do you have any thoughts about a game that way? Or is D&D a good pick?
Probably D&D is a good pick for me, too. The only other thing I would say would be like some form of miniatures game, and being able to do literally something for every bit of content that comes out.
Yes.
Like being able to track everything right down to like every new release that comes out, or honestly any game that has a lot of releases pop out, being able to track every release as it comes out and be like, here's the new things, here's what you need to do.
Yeah, I think if Team Covenant has done that in the past, where they'll like every new LCG release, I know that was kind of excluded from here, but they'll do, here, let's look at the new cards and let's talk about the strategies that this involves. Yeah, taking a deep dive like that into this game or two would be cool. I thought about doing that actually for Ashes, Rise of the Phoenix Born. I was going to do that, but it's like, how do I fit that into my schedule? But I just really wanted to support that game in my own way, and I think that would be a neat thing to be able to do. Who knows? Maybe in the future we'll get a chance to try something like that. Zach Wilson also asked, what is a game you would like to create content for, but there might not be a large audience requesting it?
I don't feel like that's necessarily a huge barrier for Watch It Played.
No, not necessarily.
Like we've created content before that didn't have a huge audience.
No, definitely.
And we've created content before that we already did have a huge audience.
Right.
So, I mean, like there are a couple little rules to, like, usually we wouldn't do a Kickstarter, for example.
Right. And normally a game that's out of print, we wouldn't do. I mean, that's
partially because of audience.
Well, for the out of print thing is really, I don't want to show you a game that you go, wow, that's awesome, I'd love to play that, and then you can't. Then it's
impossible.
Like I'm just teasing you at that point.
Yeah.
I do find myself more now than maybe I have in the past, thinking though, when companies come to me and say, hey, do an instructional video for this game, I do sort of try to go, do I think this game has legs? Will this be here 6 months from now? I know they want the game to get a little promotion or whatever, but I want the content to be something that's meaningful to the people who watch for a long period of time. So a year from now, that is a game that's still on store shelves that they're buying and going, oh, I could use some help with this. Oh, there's a video for it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, like it's not about a paycheck or about like having tutorials for every video that or for every game that comes out.
Right.
It's about the channel and the videos having a function
right.
in the future.
Right, so the more likely that the game is something that's going to stick around, the more meaningful the content is that we're creating, which feels good, I think, at the end of the day.
Like, I remember we talk about it quite a bit when going back and changing things and doing new things. Games like Seven Wonders still get as many, if not more views than your your new videos.
No, absolutely. Seven Wonders continues to get lots of views, especially after Christmas. There's this massive spike. You just go, if I go and look at the analytics after Christmas, it just shoots right up because people are getting these games from Barnes and Nobles and giving them as gifts, and someone opens the rules and they're like, what in the world is this? Now, to a lot of us, Seven Wonders is a walk in the park, but if you're brand new to gaming, that rule book can be a massive barrier to entry.
Yeah, it's a very scary park.
That's right. It's a very scary park. Be set with all kinds of icons that don't mean anything to you.
Oh, the icons.
Right?
I still sometimes have to
you have to
check,
look things up.
What does this one mean again?
And I think, look, if just being kind of open here for a moment, I'm really proud of that. I'm glad I did a video for Seven Wonders, even though it's back when the tablecloth was purple, the green screen was behind me, and I was shooting from Hulk's pants. Like that, still, I'm glad that exists.
Wish you had a zipper on there. Would have been perfect. Yeah.
All right. Anyway, let's move on before we get obscene here. The answer to your question: what game might I do that I wouldn't otherwise do because of maybe it wouldn't appeal to a large audience? Probably Ambush. Ambush was my first experience really with a war game after Empires in Arms, but it was a solo experience. It was really cool, really unique. it's out of print. Doing this video would help nobody at this point, unless you were buying it secondhand or something. But I really, really enjoyed that game as a youngster. All right. And Zach, just to wrap up Zach's questions, he just mentioned he enjoyed meeting me at Gen Con. Zach, it was a pleasure to meet you. And everyone else, people were very kind. People came up and they said hello and they expressed kind words about the show, and that always means a lot. When we come back home afterwards, we kind of bring that with us as kind of positive energy as we launch back into creating videos for you guys. So that means a lot.
Yeah, I ran into quite a few people that said hi. It was a nice experience, and most people are very polite about it too. And we're just kind of like, hi, don't want to take a lot of your time, but just want to say I really love what you're doing the show. And
it's you're in this space of, and I've said this before, but like you're in this place with 70,000 or 60,000 other people, and they're all effectively strangers, and then we have the good fortune of getting to meet more people than we otherwise would because of this show, and having these little moments of like human interaction, right? Yeah. It's not just a sea of faces and plastic and cardboard. For a moment, you're interacting with somebody else who shares the same passion that you do for the hobby, and that is a unique and special experience that we get to have, for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Let's go to a few of your questions here in the chat. Okay, well, I've got a question here from Coco Shake, who would like to know, can you guys go into a bit more details of your thoughts for Star Wars Legion and Legend of the Five Rings? I can talk a little bit about Star Wars Legion, because I did watch a demo on that. I can't really talk about Legend of the Five Rings, because I didn't experience that at all. Did you?
No, other than what they talked about in the in-game report.
In-flight report, yes.
Or the in-flight report. Yeah. The one thing about Legend of the Five Rings they did talk about that was interesting is that it's very... Yeah. The tournaments are very interactive. Mm-hmm. So at the end of a tournament, depending on which, I guess they're called clans, which clan did the best, like that clan's banner will now fly during the next tournament.
Right, the regalia that would decorate the tournament room or whatever will be based on that clan. And I think there is going to be some like gameplay effects as well.
Yeah, they talked about like the Phoenix clan. Based on the result of the tournament, the Phoenix clan was allowed to continue to work on band magic.
Yes.
And it's like, oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. So there's players get to vote and stuff like that on things that happen, which is cool. Star Wars Legion. So a couple of things that I'll just mention, and I guess these are going to sound like reviewy things. Forgive me, I can't really help it here. The core box comes with a lot of miniatures. I was really happy to see that. If you think about X-Wings, the starter set for that, it's 3 ships.
Yeah.
It's not really enough to get a full experience. What comes in the Star Wars Legion box, definitely, in my opinion, from what I saw of the demo, looks like it provides a good starter game where you feel like, okay, I've seen what this game has to offer, or I've gotten a good taste of it, now I'm ready to start pulling some other miniatures into it.
And Vader and Luke are in there?
Vader and Luke are in there again, so again, they didn't like go, okay, we're going to put these really classic characters in a much later expansion. It's Vader, it's Luke, it's some cool vehicles.
AT-ATs?
Look, I like Star Wars, but I'm not like good with
the big walker
all of
things.
The
little walkers are there, but not the big walkers.
Yeah.
How about, speaking of walkers, Ewoks? Were Ewoks in it? no Ewoks?
Speaking of walkers.
Ewokers.
Yes, that's right. There were no Ewokers.
The walking Ewoks.
They had really, really nice dioramas there to play on. I mean, they're all pre-painted. Everything looks really great. So I'm going to do my best to explain one of the game mechanics of the game, which I thought was interesting, and I'll probably make a mess of it as I try to do that here.
Perfect.
But let's say I have 5 groups of units on my team. So some stormtroopers, some other troopers, some other things, Vader, whatever, whatever. And then the other team has 5 units on their side.
Sure.
At the start of a round, we have a hand of cards, and we pick secretly one to play into the battle or whatever. And then we reveal them. And it will determine the initiative order. The card might say, I have a higher initiative, so I'm going to go first, you're going to go second. Yep. But it also indicates how many of my units I can assign specific turns to. Now, again, this is where it's going to get a little fuzzy, but the idea here is, if, let's say, my initiative card gave me good control over 3 of my units, it means I can dictate the order in which those units activate. Whereas the last 2, it will be random when they activate. Like, gotcha. I have to roll it. I forget how that works. Roll a die or flip a coin or something like that. And so I don't know exactly when these are going to activate. I don't know the exact order they're going to activate in. So it creates a little bit more... It's not as deterministic. There's a little bit of variability, but you have control over that. Okay, look, if I'm willing to sacrifice going first or going earlier or whatever, I can have more control over more of my units. type of thing, right?
And do those cards all go back to your hand? So every turn you can decide you
yes,
want to go first?
As I understand. Again, I saw a demo, I was watching kind of casually, but that was my sense of it. You take them back in, and then you pick again how you want to do it. I think.
Interesting.
The game moved quickly too, I would say. So I was watching a demo. I think I watched for about a half an hour, and my sense of it was, in another half an hour, this will be over. So, and these were people who were being taught the game as they were playing, right? So once you knew the game, I'm sure it would even go a little faster than that. So my feelings towards the game are this. I really want to check it out when it comes out. Very much. That's my feeling about it. All right. Let's see.
Connor Wise-Mendel wants to know, is Stuffed Fables 2 Kitty?
That is an interesting question. It's very much about a young girl. The very first scenario is she's moving from her crib into her big new bed, which is, of course, a big milestone for a child, and potentially some scary moments in there. So you're thinking, well, that sounds like a childish sort of theme thing to be dealing with. It is, and maybe the rest of it kind of continues on that path. Like they even talk, like there's a scenario where wetting the bed is discussed as one of the things, right? Again, another milestone in the kid's life are these kind of things, right? Or being bullied at school or whatever, right? So I think the theme is kid-friendly, but I can't help myself. I really want to play this game. Like I was a kid once. We were all kids once. I can transport myself back into that moment, assuming that the game mechanics, there's enough there to draw me in to make interesting decisions. I don't mind that the theme maybe is geared towards more of a child.
Well, and while the art was like child-based, I didn't feel like even the art looked that childish. It looked like what I would think of as like the teddy bear was like a gruff-looking adventure teddy bear, not...
Look, the art aesthetic was really... I liked it a lot. I mean, art's subjective, but I thought it was really good. And the miniatures all looked really cool and interesting and unique. So I'm very much looking forward to getting this. I would play this with my gamer friends if they were up for it. And it was interesting as well. At the end of these scenarios, they had these little kind of more... I guess like little questions, little thought moments to think about. Like, okay, were you ever bullied at school? What did that make you feel like? So these are things have nothing to do with the gameplay whatsoever, but invite you to explore some of the themes beyond just the game, which again, as a parent, on that side of it, yes, I think it'd be great to play with kids, but I wouldn't mind discussing those things with my gamer friends.
No, of course.
So Joseph Bartel asks, were you able to see the new expansions for FFG's X-Wing Miniatures Wave 12? Here's the new Imperial gunships are going to be overwhelming. I have not kept track of the waves. So I saw one of the waves announced, but I believe there were small ships. Was there a large ship in there too? Do you remember?
No, I don't think so.
I don't think so. So maybe that's another wave coming.
Yeah, they announced 2 smaller ships, I believe. Yeah. I don't remember the ships either.
Sorry, I'm a little shy of good information there.
I took pictures too, but I was in a very bad spot for pictures. Behind a speaker.
Anything Gamer asks, what's your favorite game? Yeah, well, I'm not going to answer that question, I don't think. What's your favorite game, Pep?
His favorite game is Kemet.
Okay.
And mine is Lords of Waterdeep.
There you go. We won't review, but we'll give you our favorite games, all right? But I mean, it's so crazy, because, like, I haven't played Kemet in, like, a year now.
Oh, yeah.
And it's my favorite game.
Probably been 4 months for Lords of Waterdeep for me, too.
That's not bad.
But it's kind of like when you think of a best friend. Like, you could have a best friend that's from childhood that you, like, talk to once or twice a year.
Yeah.
They're still your best friend. You still think of them that way. So I feel it's the same way with a game. You have this real connection to a game, this good feelings this game gives you. Even if you don't want to play it all the time, you remember those good feelings.
Deep thoughts.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's really nice. Makes me feel good. So, Late to the Table. Hi, Gary. How you doing? Another great YouTube channel. Check it out. Go click on the link there and subscribe. Gary says... What did you think of the full froth beer at the Seer Cabal meetup? I think I had one glass. No, I had 2 glasses of that. Look, there was a really nice dinner that the Seer Cabal had before the big meetup. For, again, actually it was part of the Kickstarter that they ran. People donated a certain level. They could be one of 12 people who were at this dinner that was hosted by the Toyar Brewery. And there was like a whole like beer and menu thing. And Stephen Bonacore was there. He gave a great sort of just discussion about beer and how it's made and all kinds of interesting details, things I don't know about it, and I found it very educational. And there was a lot to have there to drink, for sure. I enjoyed the full froth, but I only had like 2 glasses of it. I wouldn't say it was like my favorite, but the people who make up the Secret Cabal are my favorite, so that's probably what matters. But I look forward to seeing what their drink next year is like. Let's see here. Take your chits. Question: what is the hardest part of running Watch It Played? Christian. What is the hardest part?
Paperwork.
You know what? It is. There's a lot of paperwork, honestly. Since incorporating the show into a business, there's a surprising amount of paperwork and accountant work and things that are not really what I signed up for. But it's a necessary evil of the show. I'm certainly not complaining. It is kind of what I signed up for, actually. Yes, I want the show to be successful, and that's part of that. So
part of a successful business
is doing good paperwork.
Doing good paperwork.
Yes. So I can't complain about that. But I think if I was going to say the hardest, it would probably be finding the right balance of dedicating time to the show and to things that are not the show. Because I really do find Watch It Played quite fulfilling to work on. But it's not the only thing I'm supposed to do in my life. I have a family. I'd like to be a more well-rounded person. Actually, it's something I kind of feel is probably lacking in my life a little bit, is other activities that I'm also kind of engaged with, whether that's like other books I'm reading or things I'm into, or exercise that I'm doing, or whatever those things are. Like, I'd like to find a way to incorporate a little more of that in. The problem is, I do like prioritizing Watch It Played. So I tend to lean, if I got some time, I'll go crack into the next video that we're working on, and I'll do that instead of going for a jog or doing something like that, that I probably should be thinking about doing.
Yeah, and it's interesting, too, because, if you worked at, like, an anvil factory or something,
I'd be done. I'd be out of there.
Yeah, it's like, my work's over.
5 p.m.
I want to go home. I want to play games. I want to do whatever. But, yeah, when you're working at something like this that you really love, this kind of is your enjoyment on top of your regular enjoyment, so... Yeah, it's hard to find that balance.
I think everybody wants to do probably something that they find fulfilling. And I'm probably very fortunate to have found something like this that does sort of speak to what I want to be doing with my time. So it has this kind of magnetic pull on me that sometimes I probably need to resist. But I'm probably not going to do a very good job of that. So it feels like one of those bad answers to like an interview question, like, what's your greatest weakness? My greatest weakness is I have no weaknesses, or like I work too hard or something.
My greatest weakness is my strength.
Yes, that's right. And I kind of feel like that's what I just told you. The hardest part is I enjoy it so much.
That reminds me of a funny anecdote.
Yes.
So something I did at Gen Con for the first time this year was True Dungeon.
Okay.
And it was very interesting. I don't think I'll do it again just because the cost to enjoyment ratio wasn't quite where I wanted it to be. But it was very fun. You get these little tokens. You equip yourself with tokens. You go in and you
do kind of an escape room.
It's kind of like an escape room mixed with a LARP kind of thing, and it was fun. But the first thing that happened was we go into this room, and spoilers, I guess. I don't know if they do the same ones again. Yeah. But there's this tree with a bunch of fruit, and there's like a puzzle that's essentially the princess wants the smallest fruit first. Essentially, I don't remember the full puzzle. But only 5 of us could solve it that way, and the other 5 had to basically give like fealty to the princess, who was there, like all dressed up, and the NPCs are dressed up wonderfully.
Okay.
And so she doesn't say anything; she just kind of all like reacts or like acts with hand motions and everything. And the bard played her a song, and I think the cleric gave her a potion. And I'm just like, I'm a man of few words, but I'm going to show you a feat of strength. And so I picked the cleric up. And like
you picked up
it was someone it was Jackie. It was someone very small.
Someone in your party. Okay.
Someone in the party.
Okay, I just thought it was one of the NPCs. Maybe
there's a cleric.
I'm going to show you a feat of strength.
Yeah, so I picked up our party cleric and it made her break character a little bit, I think. Yes. She kind of like chuckled at, but she's like, yeah, you can go. That's great.
I'm going to show you a feat of strength.
I think I was supposed to say things, so I think it threw her off because she expected some sort of a conversation. And I'm just like, me smash.
I don't know if you got your money's worth out of it, but I think anyone playing with you probably did.
It was fun, yeah.
That's good. Listen, Christian, to give you a more practical answer to that, one of the things that's hard about the job, honestly, is picking what games we're going to feature.
Oh, yeah.
There are hundreds, thousands of games releasing, it feels like, every month. And at most we can cover, I think there are hundreds, at the very least hundreds. Releasing every month, incredibly, all over the world. And we can do about 50-ish games a year. So how do you
going to say a month?
A year. So how do you pick? How do you pick in advance, especially going back to the other conversation? Pick the best ones. How do you pick the ones that you, again, hope are going to have some kind of staying power so the content you're creating has meaningful use to people who are going to watch the show? That can be challenging. It can be very challenging to say no. It's never fun to say no to a publisher. No, I don't want to do that game, or it's not the right fit for me. Because that is the one thing is we only feature games on the channel that we want to do.
Yeah, and there's definitely a lot of maybes when talking to publishers about it too. It's like, we'll check it out and see if it's the right fit, see if we can find time for it. Because there have been kind of exceptions where we thought maybe we wouldn't do this. Then ended up playing it and being like,
sometimes the game wins you over. Sometimes those things you just didn't expect turn like, this is great. We got to find a way to fit this into the schedule somehow.
Yeah.
All right.
We're running out of time.
We are. Oh, we are getting. Well, are we? We got another half hour.
What? No, it's 9:30.
Yeah, we got half an hour.
Oh, we're doing 2 hours.
Well, I don't know. How long have we been recording for? This is fun.
Oh, I understand.
Because we started
just keep going.
Late. You're the one who's always arguing for more time.
I wanticed to make sure that we had time to answer the questions fast, and it wasn't just going to be a sudden no, we're done. Bye.
Bye, everybody. Jace Williams asks, what games are you currently writing scripts for upcoming How to Plays? I don't tend to announce too far out. That's a good. Can you guess from Pep's motions? Do that one more time. Okay. We'll wait and see if anyone gets it. Put your answer in all caps. All right. We'll look for the answer, and then I don't like to announce things too far in advance because I'm usually only working on one script at a time.
Usually, because
sometimes things change in the schedule, and I hate to disappoint. All right. So Horst Der II asks, Will you support the new Kickstarter of The Seventh Continent in September? What do you mean by support? Do you mean back it? I actually believe a copy is on the way to me, and I'm very interested in checking it out. It is the game that probably, leading into Origins, was kind of like my most anticipated game, although it wasn't going to be an Origins release, just of games coming out. This is the one I was most excited for. So very interested to see. I've been hearing good things already, so I hope it arrives soon so I can give it a try. Robotco asks, will you be doing a Tiny Epic Quest How to Play?
Done.
Yes, it's done. It will be releasing tomorrow. Anytime Gamer asks, would you ever do a Dungeons and Dragons game?
We kind of talked about that.
Yeah, we did talk about if you mean like a board game, we would certainly do board game related things, role playing games. That's a little higher mountain to climb, but we'll see. Epic Gaming Night asks, how happy are you that Gladiators in the Arena won in the competition? I am ecstatic because going into that competition, I was starting to realize the tides were turning. Team Tupperware had the strongest showing. The most vocal showing, really. We had to work a little overtime to match their fervor, but we ultimately pulled it off.
So I wasn't there. Just to clarify, because there were more people on that side, did they roll more dice, or was it literally just you did the game and whoever won based on the random roll?
It was very complicated.
Oh,
there was actually there was brackets. You had to win brackets,
okay.
And then in the final, there was a final 4-player game. And that was made up of some people who were for and some people were against, type of thing.
Did it end up as two versus two in the final bracket?
I think it was. It might have been 1 versus 3, but I think it was 2 versus 2, I believe. So, yes. And yes, Epic Gaming Night, another YouTube channel you should check out. All right, so what do we got here? Travis Myers asks, question, do you still play Codex? I want to just answer this tangentially, in a way. I get asked this question sometimes. Do you still play game X? And I always...
You can almost answer that with Lords of Waterdeep and Kemet.
Yeah, I almost hesitate. Because I feel the reason someone would be asking is to determine the staying power of the game. So, Rodney, you might have liked it at one time. Do you still play it? Does it still come off the shelf to play? And I just feel like I'm the worst person to use that, not the worst, but one of the worst people to use that as a measure because, again, Kemet, my most favorite game. You've heard it here. I said I haven't played in a year. I think it's been even longer than that. I just don't necessarily get games to the table as frequently as I might like. I haven't been to our game group in... really been to the game group. It's been almost all year. I might have come once or something like that. Just the schedule's been just kind of crazy this year. I know I miss it. So I'm not actively just pulling games out that I off the shelf to play and stuff. Oftentimes it's things for the show, which is not a complaint. I'm very fortunate to be able to do what I do. So it just precludes me going back and playing sometimes the same games over and over again.
Yeah, if someone asks me, do you still play Magic? Technically, my answer should probably be no. Mm-hmm. Except at Gen Con, I played Magic again for the first time in 6 months, 7 months.
But you wouldn't say your lack of playing is a measure of your feeling towards the game necessarily, right?
No, it's more just don't have the time, don't have the people to play with. I would always sit down if someone brought a Magic deck and said, "Hey, you want to have a quick game of Magic?" Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I hear you. So, Travis, I don't know if that answers your question. So, I'll answer your question. Do you still play Codex? No, but don't read too much into that. I still have Codex. That's kind of a measure, I suppose.
Didn't burn it or anything.
No, I didn't burn it. So Garth Nolan wants to know what was my favorite game at Gen Con. That's a little reviewy-ish, so I'm just going to skip that one.
Ex Libris.
There you go. You got one answer. All right.
Question. Netter's Play wants to know, thank you for answering the questions.
You're very welcome.
Can I cue a game of Lorenzo Il Magnifico into your schedule?
Netter's Play. Go ahead. Click on her and subscribe to her channel. Another great contributor to our hobby. Can you cue in Lorenzo Il Magnifico? That would be a difficult one to cue in. From having played it, I would say it's one I would certainly consider queuing in terms of... Oh, I am reviewing. Was it a game I enjoyed? Yes.
I think she means cue a game to play with her.
Oh. I don't know how we would do that.
You Skype tons of stuff.
I don't anymore. Although I did Skype a game of Mansions of Madness a few months ago, and that was cool. It worked very well, actually. But I would enjoy playing. I lost miserably. When I played in that, I just was destroyed. But maybe everyone was being very kind. They said, we've all played before. You're going to get destroyed. It does kind of take a playthrough to see how the cards come up and what their abilities and powers are. But it's a very engine-building game, so you have to get on the ball with your engine right away. Late to the Table asks, granted, you do not review games and avoid saying your opinion, but what do you think was the hidden gem at the con? That's a good question. I think this year it's been difficult to say sort of what was the breakout game of the convention, because I don't remember there really being one game that really kind of took the hobby by storm, I wouldn't say. Was there like an unknown game that maybe kind of got some attention?
I mean, the only game that comes to mind that I didn't know about going into the con was probably The Climbers. I didn't know about that going into the con. So when I randomly came across the booth and saw it, I thought, oh, this looks like a game I'd really like.
That's a good choice, actually, because I felt like I was hearing more and more about that game as the convention went on as well. And I'm not sure how many people's radars that was on, even though it's a reprint of I think a game that did quite well when it first came out.
But there were quite a few games at the con that just sold out super fast, which would mean they probably were a gem.
Yeah,
I don't know if they were hidden, though, because everyone knew to go get them.
That's the thing.
Like Ex Libris, Clank and Space, Starfinder, those all sold out.
It's hard to find those hidden gems anymore when we're all kind of obsessively watching the news around games and things like that.
Yeah, so we know, especially if they announce it just before the con, but we know it's going to be there. We're going to go look for it.
Yeah.
Oh, funny hidden gem one.
Yes.
The Century Spice Road, the Golem edition.
Yes, yeah.
That's a hidden gem.
Because there's gems in it.
There's gems in it.
I didn't actually realize they had changed the components in that game. Like, I knew the artwork was changing, but they actually changed the little cups that the spices come in, which are now these gem tokens. It's a very nice production. I would have liked to have gotten a copy of that. So I feel like, Gary, I haven't answered your question. I guess I didn't really discover a hidden gem there myself. So I guess, unfortunately, that's my answer.
My hidden gems were all objects. I found a lot of art.
Oh, yeah. Do you want to show a couple of your art pictures here? Just hold them up.
Well, this is my favorite because I love turtles, and this is gorgeous.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah, and this was Justin Gerard, and I actually have a cute little story behind this that I'll try to tell really quickly.
Sure.
So when I picked up this artwork, a friend of mine who was traveling with me picked up another piece of artwork from a dealer who was directly beside, and I just happened to notice they had the same last name.
Yeah.
They're married.
Oh, okay.
So I decided to ask, being an artist and marrying another artist, did you find that they really influenced your art all that much? Did you find it changed over the years? And she basically said, no, we were both established artists, whenever we met. So our art was already very set in, this is how we draw. But she did tell me this really cute story about how that is where, Gen Con is where she had met her husband. She saw this booth across from her, and he wasn't there yet. And she just saw the booth, and she's like, wow, that art is gorgeous. I can't wait to see who drew that. And then he shows up, and she's just like, oh my gosh, I can't talk to him. He's gorgeous. There's no way I can even talk to him.
Okay.
And apparently, and apparently she did talk to him, and the rest is history. Yeah, so I thought that was really cute. Yeah, I know. I love the whole across from the booth thing. It's very romantic, and so I'm gonna think of that every time I have this now. And I got these These two, I don't want to open the rest of them, but there's a bunch of these cute little dragons in here.
Yes.
And
that will eat your face off, yeah.
Yeah, and what I did is I got the artist to name each of the dragons.
Okay.
But I didn't look at the names. And I specifically told her, I don't want to know the names, but could you name these for me? Because I want to use these in a D&D game.
Where are the names? Inside the
envelopes,
okay,
yeah.
Gotcha.
And so I want to use these in a D&D game and have the players kind of like discover the names at the same time as I do. So it's like, this is your dragon, this is your dragon.
That's pretty cool, Pep.
Yeah, and I think that'll be interesting.
Yeah, that's a neat idea. Yeah, I didn't really pick up any like little kind of gems or like items. Like you've got a lot of little neat trinkets. I actually came home with everything in one suitcase. I did the old suitcase in a suitcase trick. But in the end, I was able to put everything in that suitcase, put that suitcase back in my suitcase. So I don't tend to like come home with tons of stuff because, again, unless I'm specifically using it for the show, I don't necessarily need any more games in the collection.
Yeah, that's fair.
Mad Lad Designs wants to know, what was your biggest disappointment at Gen Con to both of you? I actually had a really good Gen Con, so it's going to be difficult for me to come up with a particular disappointment. Probably would be... I'll tell you one of the disappointments I had at the Cereal Ball meetup. That was such a gong show. It was such a great meetup. It was really a party. They really have spent time over years developing a great event for people to go to, and it was like 1,000 people. It felt like, or 700 people or something.
Yeah.
I saw you for like 2 seconds there.
Oh yeah.
Like you waited outside. You finally got in. And then, like, we talked for a couple seconds, and then that was it. Like,
oh, yeah.
It was...
that's kind of our experience at Gen Con together, usually. Other than, like, the first year, we were inseparable.
Right, that's right. We've been staying in a room together, in bed together.
And then every year since then... Actually, maybe the second year, we might have still been like that. But I think every year after that, we were basically like, no, we're two different people.
Yeah.
We'll, like, occasionally run into each other in the hall, kind of wave, and move on.
Yes.
And I did see you one other time.
I think that the nice thing about it is we come back after Gen Con, and we've both had very different experiences to share. And like I said, I got through, like, maybe 25% of that dealer hall. So we have sort of stories we can share and compare to cover things that we didn't each get to. We are probably getting to the point where it needs to be probably need to pick up the pace a little bit here as we try to wrap things up. But I see a lot of questions now. I will try to give shorter answers to them. So,
Chronotog.
Infinite. Question. Do either of you guys like solo games? And what, if you do, about them would you say is better done than solo games on either iOS phone or mobile consoles like 3DS or PSP? Ooh, that's tricky. I think. Go first? Yeah, go ahead if you.
I don't like solo games.
Yep.
To me, one of the best parts of playing a board game is kind of the getting to interact with other people and pick the brains of those people too, and be like, what are you thinking in this moment? What are you thinking in that moment? Yeah. Like, the only way I'll play a game by myself is to turn up the insanity a little in my head and play as multiple people.
Okay.
That's about the only way that I'm comfortable with playing a game by myself.
I don't play a lot of solo games. If I did, it would be things like the Lord of the Rings LCG. I've enjoyed playing that solo in the past. I just got Nemo's War, which I hear is a really great solo game. I'm really looking forward to trying that from Victory Point Games. But I wouldn't say I often play solo games. So I don't think I would say, I think it does this better than...
like an
app or something. I'll tell you, I guess what it does better is it gives you a tactile thing. Like, I do enjoy board games because there's bits and pieces to pick up and move around, and I'm engaged in a different way than I'm just sitting there moving my thumbs. You know what I mean? And staring at a screen.
I like my thumbs.
But that's fun too. But I do enjoy when there's nice components and things to be doing and kind of reading and discovering and enjoying the artwork in that kind of way. All right. Moving along here.
Matthew Drummond, I have not looked into Level Up Dice before, but now that you've mentioned it, I will take a look into those because I'm always curious about dice. So,
Julian Flores, sorry, I'm skipping over your question about recommending games, but we do tend to avoid that here on the channel. I wish you success in looking up those games. We do have a video for Viticulture if you'd like to check that out to see if it is maybe up your alley. Jordan Hills, Pep, what is your favorite die?
That's a hard one. I have a lot of them, but answer the next question and I'll go get them.
Okay. Pep, I got a question for you from Roy from Epic Gaming Night. I assume it's Roy. Thinking of playing some 5th edition, tips for keeping the group together.
Do you mean keeping the group together, like not...
The players or the characters?
Yeah, players. I'm going to assume he means keeping the characters together.
I was going to assume he meant the players, but you're right. You're right, it could be the players.
Well, for keeping the players together, if you focus on one person, try not to do it for too long and find reasons that the other people would want to be involved too. Like, every single person is going to have that thing. Like, I love treasure. I love combat. I love interacting with bar wenches. Like, find that one thing and just make sure those things are always there in some degree. Like, obviously, you can't find a dragon's hoard and be like, look, treasure, gold, social interaction, bar wenches. Like, it doesn't make sense. But find something that
I
you
want
can
to play in
always
that
keep
scenario.
I know, right? And that's kind of the trick to keeping, I think, the party together too. Is if somebody adamantly wants to run off by themselves, or like
that
two
means
people
you're
want to
not
run off.
offering something in the current mission, right? I guess that's drawing them in. I guess, right?
It's sort of, yeah. And if they do want to run off and they're so adamant about it, find a way to show those other party members that the thing that those people are looking for is also where those people are going.
So they can run off with them?
Kind of, yeah. And it doesn't have to be blatantly obvious, like, oh, I hear there's treasure
and
Berwin. Just,
oh my goodness. All right.
But yeah, something like that.
Nick Johnson asks, 2017 is so far a disappointing year for board games. Question mark? Board games? Or am I a spoilt gamer? Nick, that is a question of the ages. I mean, I would never want to accuse you of being a spoilt gamer. I would just say that you are a human being like the rest of us, and you enjoy certain things more than others, and maybe this year you're seeing less of the things you like, and I can assure you there's somebody else there who's having an amazing 2017, loving all the games that are coming, or, finding all kinds of things they enjoy. So it's...
Yeah, I wouldn't say I was disappointed with games this year, but
yeah.
I think it's about average, if anything. I don't think it was extremely exciting, but I was disappointed.
Let's see.
These are my favorite dice, I think.
Oh, yeah. You go ahead and talk
I have
about
a whole
those.
bunch of them. I actually bought 2 full sets of them. And they're just these, I think they're called Bloodstone, and they're just these red, like deep, deep red with gold inlays.
Hard to see here, but they're, yeah.
Yeah, and they have golden pick.
Oh,
like,
shapes and sizes
pips
in there, too.
And I got the mini D6 set that matches, too, just because I love those dice so much.
Arch Gaming Network wants to know, did you wear the Mountie outfit at Gen Con? No, we didn't reach that stretch goal yet, but we're in spitting range of it now. We got just under 5,000 to go before we hit that stretch goal, and then 10,000 more after that, and we unlock Pep, so we can get him back for another year.
I'm chained up.
He's chained up. Unchain him. But I will, when we reach that stretch goal, I will wear it during next year's Gen Con, so you can get your cameras ready. Let's see.
It looks like a big string of not questions.
Yeah, we got lots of good banter in here, though. I like that. I like people are talking together.
Paulo Antonio wants to know, have either of you ever been to Spiel before? What about Europe? That's a good one.
I have not been to Spiel before, or Europe, and I'm going this year, and I'm very excited to be going. So if you're going, I will see you there. And I'll be like, this will be very new to me. I don't know exactly what to expect, but I'm sure it will be enjoyable, because there'll be lots of good people and lots of games.
I will not be and have not been.
Okay. Let's see. Question. Pep, are you a fighter, healer, rogue, or wizard? Nick Johnson would like to know.
Fighter, probably with a tendency to rogue.
Okay, with a tendency to rogue?
Yeah, although I do also like wizards, but fighter with a rogue tendency.
Okay, so the... Oh, I just found it. It skipped ahead. I was worried I lost
I like the next question. Pep, are you a lover or a fighter? Definitely lover.
Yeah, okay. Gary would like to know, ice cream versus cake. Tell us why you like pudding more. I feel like that's a leading question there a little bit. Ice cream versus cake?
Ice cream.
Ice cream.
It's easier.
Yeah. It's easier?
It's easier.
Well, it melts.
No, but like cake, you gotta fork it and you gotta cut it. But with ice cream, you pick up the tub and you just lick it out.
It's too late to argue about this. We're coming back to that one next time. Okay. Ryan McKetchin says, do you have advice for board game addiction?
Give me your games.
That's right. Send them all right here to Montague PEI. Not really. I mean, try to do everything in moderation. I wouldn't say I'm succeeding in that, but yeah.
I'm excited for the next question.
Are you? Okay, let's see what the next one is. Pep, this is from Black Like Vader. Question. Pep, are you looking forward to the Hero Realms campaign? Favorite class? You guys are great. Oh, thank you.
I am very much looking forward to it.
Okay.
Because I actually thought it was going to be a Gen Con, and it wasn't. I thought it was.
So you have to keep looking forward to it.
I have to keep looking forward to it. Right. Favorite class is hard on that one. I've bounced between quite a few of them. I think, honestly, just a mix between either the fighter or the wizard. Do you remember the classes well enough to know your favorite?
I liked the Ranger, I believe. Kind of stood out to me as one I would probably go back to.
Okay.
We've got some more favorite questions, which we'll skip over here. Thanks for the questions. Kabuki Kid would like to know, is the cloak suitable as a replacement for a winter coat?
No.
No, not really.
No, it honestly is very breathable.
Yeah.
It keeps my shoulders warm, that's about it. What the heck is with the cloak?
It's a good question. Boy, we must be, because you took that cloak off a while ago, so we're behind. Nick Johnson would like to know, Rodney, Monkey Island or Day of the Tentacle? Oh, that is a tough choice.
Are those movies?
You youngin'. Those are old games, old video games. I would say...
I'll go with Eye of the Beholder.
I'm going to say Day of the Tentacle, but I certainly played Monkey Island more. But Day of the Tentacle holds a special place in my heart. What a good game it was. All right. Okay, I am going to scroll down. I think I have to.
I think you have to.
I have to. I have to get to some of the people who joined in late. I'm sorry, but we have to wrap
honestly,
this
I
up.
didn't see all that many questions as you scrolled, so I
scroll
don't
up?
think we... No. Don't.
I'm scrolling up. I'm scrolling up. I'm going to stop here. Okay. Oh, actually, I'm back to where we left off.
Yeah, like I said,
good.
there weren't that many. You don't need to.
You're right. Okay,
You could have just
coming
kept
down,
down.
coming down.
Oh, Kabuki Kid wants to know how long the first Martians video took to make. There were a lot of problems every time we did a video. Just like, whoops, the audio didn't work on this one.
Do you mean the gameplay or the tutorial?
Oh, I assumed you meant the gameplay.
Yeah, I assumed you meant the tutorial because how long did the
the first Martians video? Yeah,
it took a long time.
Yeah,
it took a long time. But look, I knew that going in. That was I knew that was going to be a monster. I did Robinson Crusoe. This was based on that. I had the experience from Robinson Crusoe to know it was going to be a big one. But again, that's kind of I do enjoy. That's kind of why Dungeons and Dragons sort of sits in the back of my mind. Is like, could I ever do that? The challenge of it kind of is tantalizing a little bit.
I almost want to work with you and try to figure out how we would script something like that.
How would that work?
Not write the script, but write the script outline. What would we talk about?
Yeah, how would you break this down into
I think it's honestly creating a character, playing a game, role playing, and then basic DMing. That's probably the 4 videos you would have to do.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah.
How to get started to just what products you need to
I would love to see you do the video about role playing. How do you role play? It's
I would like to
first
see that
you get your cloak.
Yeah, I'd like to see Pep do it, honestly. Oh, dear. Okay, so very quickly, Zach Stewart, who would win tic-tac-toe most out of both of you?
Do you know the pattern?
Pretty good, yeah. But I still would say I'd probably goof up first.
Oh.
Toe Boy asks, will you be doing a video for the 7th continent? I don't pre-announce the video I was going to do just because sometimes my schedule changes and I don't like to disappoint, and I've made that mistake in the past. All right. Kabuki Kid, how about doing a video for the Star Wars Rebellion expansion without having done the base game video? That would actually be pretty funny, since there has been a little bit of a push for me to do Star Wars Rebellion. To not do that and just do the expansion would be mean. Okay. Arch Gaming Network wants to know, if I played a game with you that had paper money, would I have to know the Canadian exchange rate?
That's funny.
Yeah, just divide in half, basically. That's the Canadian exchange rate.
We basically have monopoly money.
Yeah, at this point. Philip Millman would like to know, are you going to BGG Con this year? I regret to inform you I will not be going. Gosh, I wish I was. I love that convention. PAX Unplug happened to be at the same time. I felt like that was the convention I should go to, since Watch It Played has not attended that before, and it could be potentially a new audience, new group of gamers. So I want to go see what that convention is like as well, just to weigh, is that one I'd like to go back to again?
New experience.
Yeah, new experience. But I will miss BGG Con dearly, and I intend to return as soon as possible.
And I might be going. I don't think so, but I might be.
Okay.
Still waiting to see if I can get tickets.
Okay, scrolling down. Yeah, they sold out.
Oh, yeah, instantly.
Okay. Arrested Developer would like to know, any plans to wrangle Luke or Andrea into any gameplays in the future? Look, love to do it if time and scheduling allows. I mean, sometimes it's like, I could do a game with one of the kids today, but gameplays usually are multiple episodes, so then it's kind of a little bit hard to plan that out. And Andrea doesn't live at home right now, so that definitely makes it more challenging. And Luke's schedule is just full. He's a teenager now, so he's got lots on the go. I think we're getting down to the end of the questions, which is great, because we might be able to end this without having a whole bunch that we ignored.
Damian Clark wants to know if we ever wear hats in Canada.
Buy them in Canadian stores, trees, lakes. Yes, that is a little joke to the no pun included video I mentioned earlier.
Oh.
Yes, you can get them all in those places. Daniel Bemis would like to know, have you ever played Netrunner? I have. Have you?
Yeah, we played together.
That's
I
right.
played separately with other people too.
Yes. Questions about what games will we do videos for. Again, we don't announce that. Okay, a little reviewy type questions, which we can pass over. Michael Hayden would like to know, would you ever consider creating your own game convention? Yes, I think about it frequently. But I feel like it's the sort of thing to do right. I would need either convention organizers to come on board first and then more invite me to be a part of something that's already established, or just a good group of volunteers or friends and just create something small and local kind of thing, right? I just feel like if you're going to do something like this, you need to do it right because other people are coming and expecting a good time, and I don't want to take that for granted.
Yeah, if it's basically like, hey, 20 people, come hang out in my basement.
Right. That could work if the 20 people know that's what they're coming for. But if you have a convention and it's like you don't know exactly how many people are going to come and you don't know what they're expecting from it, I think you want to provide an all-around really good experience.
Yeah, I want to make sure there's things nearby that people could do that are interesting too.
But I
probably want to be in Charlottetown.
Potentially. Although as I go around, we've been traveling around the island a little bit this year, and we will stop at different locations. Sometimes Christy and I will go like, oh, this could work. This could work. It's a little out of the way, but really beautiful setting. Nice views, lots of rooms, stuff like that. It could be affordable. Anyway, something else that's on the thought pile somewhere back here.
The thought pile.
Yeah. Nick asks, do you know anything about the new Arcadia Quest expansion with the big riding creatures? I don't know anything about it specifically, other than there are big riding creatures, and you can put your miniatures into them, and they look cool. Just when you think they've run out of things to add to Arcadia Quest, they come up with something else.
What was it? Flick 'em Up did something like that too. There's horses that your people can fit onto.
Yeah, yes, that's right. They had little horse. You put your little meeple figures in. Meeple
horses.
I think. Look, I'm going to stop here. Jace, thanks for the kind words about the channel. That means a lot. I'm going to stop on the live questions here. There was Lance Simpson asked in there if we were going to answer a question that came from the BGG Guild, and there is one in here that I thought would be kind of neat. Actually, it is the next question on this list. Ryan Bellinger had asked, and Pep, I apologize for not showing this to you in advance, so I'll answer first. If your life had to be based off a single game mechanic, what would it be?
Drafting.
Well, that's you thief. That's what I put here. Yeah, I thought, look, card drafting might actually be kind of an interesting mechanic to have your life built around. The idea being that you start the game with nothing, right?
You start your life with nothing.
Well, I shouldn't say that. You start with, I suppose, 7 options. All this potential. Let's say all this potential.
But every option you take, you risk these other things you could potentially take someone else taking.
Yeah, someone else taking, and if I pursue this path, then I'm not pursuing that path. That is life. That is kind of how it works, right? So, and especially when you're younger, you maybe only have a few tools in the tool kit type of thing, right? So you take one card that's going to be yours and you pass the rest on. Then you get some new options that get presented to you. And then you decide, what next thing do I want to do that might work well with the thing I have? Or maybe I want to try something else. Maybe I made a mistake with this one and now I want to go in a different direction or try to balance that. It just, the more I thought of it, I thought, that's kind of like the way life is. And the thing about card drafting, which is kind of nice, which life doesn't always give you, is it says, these are the options. This is it. Which one of these things? It's a more definitive kind of presentation. You have a chance to grab your destiny a little bit more.
This kind of sounds like the Divergent series.
I don't know that one.
Oh, but basically, I'm born, these are the options, or this is what I have to do.
Right,
almost.
right.
I guess there's a lot of
fiction in that.
That has that kind of, and you have a little bit more choice here, but there's always going to be that one person who's like, no, I don't want one of these 7 options. I want the 8th option that isn't there. Right. Freedom.
Right. And then break that. But I think card drafting is the way to go. Of course, it could introduce hate drafting, I suppose, in it too.
True. Take something just so that another person can have it. that kind of happens in real life anyway.
It does. Someone gets the job that you were going for or whatever, right? Yeah. So, I think card drafting is a good answer for that. Interesting question.
Yeah, it's a really interesting question.
Yeah. I think we answered that one already. Oh, look, there's only one more question left here. Vincent Vignola asked, have you replaced Periscope with something else, or is it that the medium wasn't quite for you? No, I love the medium. I really enjoyed Periscope. Look, the number of hardware malfunctions I've had on Periscope compared to doing it here on YouTube, significantly less. It's a time thing, I think, primarily. I just haven't... When it first came out, it was kind of the newness of it, for sure. But I think I had a little more time as well back then. Yeah. And I just haven't been taking the time to pop out Periscope and do something. I did one recently when I was at Origins with Marty because I wanted to talk about a game. And I was like, let's do it live. We'll do it live on Periscope, right? But I'd like to do more of it. I do think of it from time to time. But just haven't recently.
Yeah, I mean, I feel basically the same way.
Yeah, because you used to do more of it as well.
Yeah, I used to do it and hang around on Periscope a bit, but yeah, and I mean, in a lot of ways, Facebook Live kind of did replace it.
Yeah, I think for a lot of people it does. And I guess I haven't really tried the Facebook Live version of it. Can you do that under your page account? So, like, could I do it under Watch It Played as opposed to under Rodney Smith?
I believe so. Yeah, I believe so.
Because that would probably be the way to do it. Maybe I should try that sometime.
Yeah.
And see how that goes.
See how it works out, yeah.
Thanks for the question, Vincent. Thanks for the question, everyone. These are all wonderful questions. I don't think I had any other comments in my list. I just wanted to mention again, because I didn't really talk about it in detail, the Cedar Cabal meetup was fantastic this year. If you go to Gen Con and you haven't been to one of those, I recommend you come. It's quite a party. They have a big raffle to give away a lot of games.
700 people last time.
At least. And this time they really had a nice facility for it, even though, again, it was filled to overflowing. But everyone was super nice there. It was a lot of fun. We hung around afterwards. We played Strike. I played the Dice in the Bowl version of Strike. Didn't care for it, I will say. The bowl, I mean, you throw the dice in, they all
bounce more in the bowl.
They don't bounce right, and then they kind of like all kind of converge in the center. They all slide down to the center. It's just not. Listen, here's the thing though.
I understand.
Strike is not a game you can easily buy right now. So I will encourage anyone who wants to just grab a dice in the bowl. Strike is a way of thinking. All right. So you just got to think gladiators in the arena, and if you think hard enough, then you'll be playing Strike.
Well, you can just kind of make a bowl or get a bowl shaped like the arena. Like I have that one vase bowl over there I use that kind of has that. It goes down.
If you put a soft fabric in the bottom or something a little rubbery, that would probably
help too.
Cover it. Well, there you go. There's your Strike tips for the night, along with some other commentary. Hope you enjoyed this live show. I hope that the audio hasn't been sync wildly the whole time. We will try, again, for our next one to clear up some of these problems, but they will not happen. I'm sure we will still have those problems. Either way, thank you, everyone, for watching. Until the next episode, I'm saying thanks for watching.
I don't know what to do now. I was about to wave and say thanks for watching.
But I just said it. I broke it. Okay. So we have to talk about something else now for a few seconds and then come back. So I'll just see if there's any other questions. I broke the ending. I broke the beginning of this live stream. I broke the ending of the live stream. Sean wants to know, have you ever thought about Twitch streaming gameplays? Yes, I have thought about it, and I'm thinking about it still, actually. I've also thought about just general live streaming gameplays, but the experiences we have during our live shows sometimes make me afraid of that.
I would like to show 2 more pieces of art really quick, too.
Okay.
I got this one, which is like a necromancer looking over a city. Now, it's weird because I bought this because it inspired me. When I saw this...
to be a necromancer.
Well, yeah. Okay. But I saw this and I thought, like, I love the idea of this for, like, a D&D campaign. Like, this necromancer who... You know, he isn't that, like, make this horde and try to, like, overthrow a city. He's making plans. Like, he's more the conniving, I'm doing the
subtly.
Batman thing. Yeah. And so I bought this. I thought I want to use this at some point. And this other one was the artist Tom Bobby, or Baby, I don't know how to pronounce it. But it's the pseudo-dragon from 5th edition. But what I really loved was I asked if he'd sign it. And, like, he does already have his signature on here, which I didn't realize. But he signed it, and this is his signature. And I was like, this is exciting because, like, that's his signature, and then below is the date. It's 2017.
Well, I see there's a T and a B. Is that
TB, and then the 17 underneath. And if you look really closely on the book, which you definitely can't see, but if you look...
etched it in there,
it's
too.
etched into the book as well, and it looks so fitting of the theme. And I just love it because
very unique signature.
It looks like a wizard signal from D&D, and so I loved it. And
it's not that flowy kind of signature with swirls and dots and things you're used to seeing, I think.
Yeah, so I was super excited when I got it, and I just love the pseudo-dragon art, so it was another quick little art buy that...
Do you think they forgot about my screw up with the sign?
I think so. I think we can sign off properly.
Good. Well, listen, it's been wonderful to do another live show with you. We'll try to do more of these really soon. But until the next episode, thanks for watching. Watching, not washing.
Oh, it's not washing? I get that mixed up.
Every time. It's always the mistakes. Stop this stream.